Okay, you're on.
Thank you. Good morning. It's Monday, January 7th, Tufton Borough Board of Selectmen meeting, continuation after a non-public session, and Happy New Year. And let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on our agenda is opening of bids for the 2002 Freightliner dump truck. We have one bid. It is from Stephen W. Hunter. That's for $1,250.
Well, I'll make a motion that we award the bid to Stephen Hunter for $1,250 for the sale of a Freightliner.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations to Steve.
That was the 2002 model, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good deal, huh?
Well, it has
Go
some,
take a look. You
Yeah.
should.
there you go. It has some issues. Basically, I think it's suitable for a yard truck rather than being on the highway. So I think that's what that bid reflects. So, all right. Any public input before we get started on other items? All right. We want to approval of minutes. First is the regular meeting minutes on December 17th.
I'm all set.
I'll make a move that we accept them.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, and then we have a non-public on the 17th.
At which time?
8:30 a.m. I'm sorry, yeah. First one.
Meeting with the chief.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we accept them.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And they stay sealed?
Yes. I would say so. All right, non-public at 10:10 on December 17th.
December 17th.
Yep.
I have no issues.
Oh, non-public. I'm sorry.
Non-public, yep.
Oh, right. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And they stay sealed.
All right, yes. And a third one at 10:57 a.m. on the 17th.
I have no issues.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And they stay sealed.
Opposed? Work session minutes from Friday, December 28th.
I have no issues.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, non-public on December 28th.
I have no issues.
I've got January 4th as well.
Oh, you're right, we do have January 4th.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No stay sealed.
Thank you. And work session minutes from Friday, January 4th.
I have no issues.
Does this reflect our vote?
I believe so.
Should be like here,
Okay.
and then here's the dollar amount
Good.
after some input.
Okay. And we didn't vote on doing this all in 1 year.
Yeah, that I knew, I didn't
No.
know that.
No, we were gonna discuss that under the
I'll
warrant.
make a
article.
motion, we approve this minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And I did have a note here suggesting that we want to clarify where we're taking the money from to do the design work. So, yeah, we might as well do that right now. So what we had agreed is we were going to take $67,500 toward the design work for the library, and that needs to come out of the
Capital reserve.
library capital reserve fund,
Right.
right? So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we take 67,500, is that what it was?
Mhm.
Yep.
From the town capital reserve fund to the library.
I'll second that, and I have a question. It's my understanding that procedurally, we have the right as selectmen to take the funds out, remember?
We are agents
Right.
on that fund.
The other-
Agents
the
to
other-
expend.
Agents
Right.
to expend.
The
right?
other thing is that there was a warrant article that cleaned up that it's not just to build a new building, but to remodel an old building.
That's right, that was passed it.
So for the matter of record, my understanding is we're on legal ground.
Right. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Are we good on that matter now? Karen?
Yes, thank you.
Well, thanks for staying on top of that.
No problem.
While we're on minutes, did you want to do the non-public? Or did you have a chance to?
I'm not through with all of them.
All right, so let's.
I'd like to do that before the end of the year.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it's already the end,
Yep,
so.
yep.
And you put in two categories, open and leave sealed, correct?
Right, and some of them, we don't have the option of unsealing,
Because
really.
by statute, they're sealed.
Right.
Yep.
But this went back all the way to 2016, I think, or maybe it went
Yep.
back even further.
Yep.
Gotta get that beat out.
All right. So once we've all had a chance to go through those, then we can, be able to deal with them.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe we'll put on the agenda for next Monday to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through them and just, not a big
I guess we'll
deal.
start the year out fresh.
Yep,
'Cause I don't
Absolutely.
see any of those other minutes that I've looked at ever being unsealed.
Twin?
Okay.
Personal.
yep. All right. Next item is health agency's budget. So we should have a item in here. This is 4415. We have a full folder worth of requests. Okay. VNA requests 7,000, which is what they were budgeted in 2018. Northern Human Services requests 2049, which is
2149.
2149. I'm sorry, same as in 2018. Life Ministries Food Pantry requests 3,000, level from 2019. Wolfboro Area Meals on Wheels requests 2,500, same as in 2019. American Red Cross requests 750, which is same as the 2018 budget. CASA, Child Advocacy. Requests.
500.
I'm sorry, right there on the top. Yep. And that's same as has been. Tri-County Community Action requests 5,000. And, I'm sorry, 5,000 for energy services and 500 for homeless intervention and prevention programs. So that's 5,500, which is up 200 from last year. Starting point requests $2,362. And that's almost $1,000 more than our budget from last year.
Yeah.
So let me just go through them and then we can get back to it, I guess. Kingswood Youth Center requests 3,000. Same as last year. Caregivers of Southern Carroll County requests $1,000, same as last year. Tri-County Transit, which is the Blue Loon. Request 3,000, says they have provided trips valued at $4,189. So, in 2018. Wolfboro Area Children's Center requests $2,800, which is up $100 from last year. And 68 Hours of Hunger.
$2,000 up from last year.
Requests, yeah. 1,400.
Oh, I'm sorry, so
Yeah.
2,000 less.
Yes, requests $1,440. Mount Washington Valley Supports Recovery Coalition requests $2,000, which is a $500 drop from last year. And the White Horse Addiction Center requests $3,000, and I think we did 2,500 last year.
Yeah,
That was
we did a warrant article. last
yeah,
year.
that's why it didn't show on the budget line, but it's,
Right.
it's in the back. In the back. Let's see, yeah, I'm sorry. We did 5,000 for White Horse last year, and they're asking for 3,000 this year. So that, the total in 2018 budgeted for health agencies was $39,706, plus the 5,000 we put to White Horse, which would make it 44,706. And the request that we have this year is for $40,001.
And Wolfboro Senior Center didn't send anything in?
I don't have anything from them, so, and that's why there's nothing in the,
Wait,
so,
Would you repeat that total for 2019?
40,000.
$40,001.
Oh,
Sorry. So, I don't have a request in here from the Wolfboro Senior Center, so
Are they still viable? I don't.
yes,
yeah.
they're very active. Did they ask you last year?
Yep.
Yes.
And then they, nothing?
Yep. So, do we know if Diane reached out to them to see if they?
I think she reached out to all these folks, that's why, I mean, at one point earlier.
That's why we're so late in
Right, late
getting
in
this.
December, we didn't have any. So I'll make a motion that we approve budget health agencies 4415 for the amount of $40,001.
I'll second that.
All right, and by way of discussion, I guess the only thing that I would say is that between now and when the budget's finalized, if we get some sort of
Fine tune.
indication from the senior center, we can revisit it, but it's an important part of the process that at least the receiving agency reaches out to us and says,
Yes.
yeah, this is what we'd like to continue. There are some that go out of business, if we know, along the way, or where the need reduces, so.
So that 40,000 includes the White Horse this year?
Includes
Yeah.
what?
Yes.
White Horse?
Yes.
Yes.
So your total is going down from last
So our
year?
Yes.
total is going down from last year,
Our
right?
aggregate total, yes.
Yeah, based upon the requests, so, yeah. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Good.
All
A
right.
lot of help there.
Yep. On it. All right.
See you, Carl.
Go to the signature file. We have a poll license from Public Service of New Hampshire. Doing business as Eversource. This is a license for 3 poles on Durgan Road. So,
I'll move that we sign that
Second.
application.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And of course, we have to do it in triplicate.
3 signatures.
Yes, it is, 3 signatures. Think how much longer it would take if we had a 5-member board.
Well, how long did it take us to decide to sign?
Right, exactly. All right, the next item we have is an intent to cut for PID 16-2-21.
I'll make a motion that we sign.
Recognize the name?
Hmm?
Recognize the name?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, second,
Second.
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Is it the 7th or the 8th?
Today is the 7th.
I never know what day it is.
Nice thing about being retired, right? You just
I guess.
get up in the morning.
Every day's Sunday.
Yeah.
Everybody's writing the 19th, so
Yeah,
we're with it.
okay. Selectmen's update. Want to start, Lloyd?
I'll pass.
Okay.
had a pretty productive budget meeting last week. I think we answered all of your questions. I couldn't remember if there was anything outstanding, but I don't think there was.
I thought you covered it all.
I was hoping that we were going to be meeting tomorrow night for the balance of the budgets, but I don't see that government buildings is done. All we have done is health agencies. We may have a warrant done, or done today, but we had a scheduled meeting for the 18th, I think, wasn't it, or the 16th?
22nd. 22nd, I believe it was. For
Is it the 22nd?
I believe that was the next scheduled one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I've had the staff send out the revenue for 2018, and I think a copy of the budgets that we've gotten done so far. If not, that'll happen today. So whether or not a meeting tomorrow night would be productive, I'm a little ambivalent about that. I think we just might wait till the 22nd. And that's about it. I already non-public meeting.
Yep.
Anything new with Robert, or is that?
No, I'm not, I've been appointed, but I haven't been, they're gonna wait until the March.
Because there's a whole bunch of openings, isn't there?
No, they've filled them, I think. Yeah, it's a totally new staff. But they were gonna wait to talk to probate, and there's some anniversary date, I think, in March
Yeah.
that they're working on, and then we'll do a review of the scholarships and have our first meeting probably in April. Let's see what sort of situation that is.
Yep. The only thing I'll mention under update is the cooperative purchasing group that I have participated in the last year and a half or so is meeting, their quarterly meeting tomorrow in Nashua. And weather dependent, I'll be going down to, there is always some interesting presentations and ideas about ways to save money
Right.
and do things more efficiently. So I'm on for the meeting unless the weather's ugly in the morning, and then I'm not gonna drive to Nashua in that stuff, so. All right.
I did have one other thing I just remembered. I did have a pretty productive meeting at the county with the administrator over there, trying to get a handle on how our county expenses are going to impact taxes. But, they seem to have a pretty good financial picture going forward. They're working on an energy audit for the whole place that hopefully will save them a bit of money. And the only big purchase they're looking at is a new generator, which is going to be expensive.
I might go into the other one, right?
Yeah. And the nursing home, which is a particular topic of mine, is running about as well as it can, I think. And in the previous delegation, I think with a little more investment over there in the farm, we could probably see our county taxes moderate, if not go down.
Just an editorial comment. The 5 or 6 families that I know have had people there, including my family, the citizens all are positive of how their family members are treated in the services. So that
Yeah.
isn't that nice?
The reputation there is, in the nursing home, is certainly very good. I know that one of the challenges they have is hiring and keeping staff,
Right.
and part of that is you gotta get to the right right wage rate to compete with.
And they've got a 2-year opportunity. That's kind of why I stopped. I mean, they've got a Democratic delegation for a 2-year period, and we should be able to get the wage rates settled out without the crazy Glenn Cordelli types of the world trying to drive everything out of business. The other thing is that, I mean, it's a perfect site for a big solar array. And there's a lot of open ground and they use a lot of electricity, so they
Yes.
really should look at a big project, I think.
All right.
The only thing I had is at some point, I think we should be talking about the FEMA policy.
Yes.
And make sure,
Yes.
maybe put that on the agenda for a future meeting.
Yep.
And the other thing is, you know, we've had 3 incidents of accidents this year in there. I'll say it as nicely as possible, there seems to be some confusion as to what the selectmen expect from the process. So, I mean, this is not a slam, I just want to make sure the vendors get paid, but doesn't rob the department heads from money they don't have. Perfect example is you folks listen to the $1,000 deductible, and we put that under insurance,
Yeah.
like that. So you guys are on top of it, I just want to smooth it out and be
Well,
positive.
maybe we should have a general meeting of all the department heads. and come up with a policy.
Just to review.
Position.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make it as easy for them too.
Yeah. Yeah. That brings up a thought. The fence that we repaired down at the beach.
Yes.
That the state damaged during the winter.
Yes.
There's an opportunity to file to get that cost reimbursed, is that correct?
It's my understanding when that happened, I asked the engineer, and he says, there is paperwork that he can provide, and there's a process in which anyone who is asking for restitution can go through.
Okay, do we have that paperwork?
I do not have it, I will ask him.
All right, so, I mean, it's not huge money, but
Yeah.
we're not gonna get the money from them if we don't apply for it.
Exactly.
So it was damaged by the state contracts, and we gotta pursue that. So, yeah, if you could chase down whatever the paperwork is, and we'll get that process done. Okay. So, moving on to correspondence. Let's see. The procurement policy is one of the things in here. Do we want to tackle that today, or?
I left my paperwork home, so.
All right, okay.
And what I would do is I've typed up some suggestions I have
Okay.
to fine tune.
All right.
That just makes it easier for you to review.
Yep. That would be good. All right. So we have a letter from the Department of Revenue Administration. I think you've seen this already, but maybe not. That our assessed valuation is at 86.8% for 2018. I'm sorry, that's the median ratio. And the overall equalized assessment is 88.1%. And got a whole long list of,
So high tide for reevaluation.
so it is,
And we
absolutely.
put money aside for it,
Yep,
so that's appropriate.
yep. Okay, report on the accident up at the transfer station, where the plow truck ran into the office area of the recycling building. Email from Skip Hurt suggesting that we look at using this Pier 19 store as the building to convert into a new police station. A notification from the Department of New Hampshire DES that we've received a grant award for the milfoil control program for 2019 at 25% of the total program cost. This is a reimbursement grant program such that as we pay the money out, we submit copies of the paid invoices to the state, and they they give us 25% of that back. So,
Isn't that gonna go up?
hmm?
So $25,000 is not what we're paying. So they're gonna take 20% of that?
They will, right, they will reimburse us 25% of the cost of the herbicide treatment and the diver harvesting. So some of the costs that we have in there are not reimbursable. But you know, stuff like administrative stuff and the dues that we pay to New Hampshire Lakes.
And that's figured in on the revenue report under other
Right.
departments.
I'm not sure exactly what line it falls in. We have, as you know, it's a little bit confusing when you look at the revenue report because some of the categories aren't as descriptive of what all is there as possible. And I know with respect to milfoil, we had a conversation a few meetings back about the fact that some years when we're doing herbicide, we have a higher expense than in other years, and it'd be great to level that out. And we do have a mechanism that we can do that. It would require us to take a different approach to our funding. We do have an expendable trust fund. It's held by the trustees of the trust fund.
Right here's where it is in revenue.
Right.
So it's $4,000.
I'm sorry?
It's for around $4,000.
Yeah. So,
So you're thinking putting the money from the milfoil
so if we,
into that as opposed to?
if we put the money into the expendable trust fund and spend out of there, but whatever doesn't get spent just stays, and then as we need, we budget into that trust fund. In other words, take it out of the operating budget. What it means is that two things. Every year, there's going to be an article on the warrant to put whatever the money is for that item into the expendable trust fund, and then the other thing, of course, is that as it gets expensed, the checks get written out of the trust fund rather than out of the normal operating account. So we could move to that approach. The other thing is, and I'm not sure about this, but my understanding is that if we go to using the expendable trust fund, that the reimbursement grant can then go right back into the trust fund rather than just into the
Right. So you don't have an offsetting revenue then, because it's going into the trust. You still have the expense because you put it out in a warrant article. It would be, yeah, a longer discussion maybe.
Well, yeah, but the expense is smaller because you've already offset it in the trust. Okay, so if you spend 20,000 and you get 5,000 back and it goes back into the trust, the next time you need 20,000, right? You've already got that 5,000 there, so you only need to authorize. Anyway, I just throw that out there as an opportunity. All right. I think that's it for correspondence. Are we ready to move on to look at the warrant articles?
You want to do it in the order that they are?
Sure.
Revenues, expenditures, budget, and then warrant?
Yeah.
Because I had a couple of questions on the revenues.
All right.
Do you need Diane in here?
Well, we'll see.
And I don't have the 2019 budget. Does not.
What's that?
The 2019 budget is not in the paperwork, so.
No.
Just skip that.
No.
Any hope of seeing that any day? Because I'd asked for that without the government buildings, or without the budgets that we had done, just to give us some idea where we are.
She told me she was gonna put health agencies in after you approved it today, and then she would give that to the budget committee tomorrow.
Okay.
but we don't have a bottom line number for
No.
what's there yet.
Right, so I don't know if you want it to go to, so another reason maybe to postpone the budget meeting, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we need to postpone that part, because do we have a timeline on government buildings? I think that's the only budget left.
That is the only budget left, and I don't know the answer, but I can ask Diane to come in if you'd like.
All right, so we're gonna do the government buildings next Monday. So whatever has to
I'm not
happen.
sure if that's not.
We are gonna do it next Monday.
Okay.
So whatever has to happen between now and then,
Yeah,
you know,
we gotta do
everything's getting backed up because we're waiting on, and I don't know specifically what input we need that we don't have, but I'll get with Diane after the meeting and.
Right, if we've got to
and-
get
and
the
we
departments
can't,
to
we
get
can't
their-
just keep,
pushing it off.
yeah, you know, we're already,
If she needs to work a couple of extra hours
Well,
on
because
it,
we're
it's
gonna,
fine.
I mean, we're gonna have our warrant fleshed out, I think, today,
Yep.
to a certain degree, but we don't really know where we stand until we know the full budget.
right, exactly,
So,
Correct.
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, so.
All right, so
more-
let's,
More reason to postpone the budget meeting
Yep.
until the 18th.
all right. So let's,
22nd.
let's go through the,
I had a question on the, you get your revenues there?
yep,
Okay, I had a question on the yield taxes.
yep,
I just, after, and it may be the case, but I'm wondering how we can be 20% or 25% short on that when we sign timber cutting taxes.
Because the payments aren't due until June.
So this is 2017?
No, this is 2018.
Right, but the revenue's not gonna come in until the 2017 revenue?
so what you're saying is the revenue we're seeing here is revenue on timber that was cut in 2017.
A lot of it, yes.
Okay.
So a
So
lot
our
of,
projection
a
was-
lot of the intents to cut that we signed this year, that money's not gonna come in until 2019.
Right.
Okay. So,
Okay, and the land, same with the land use changes? I mean, that seems, it's odd that that came out exactly what we estimated.
I think you remember we did a mid-year on the revenues,
Right.
and I think we adjusted it to there
Yes.
at the mid-year.
Yep.
And all the land use change tax had been collected by then, that we thought we were gonna collect. So,
I mean, everything else, well, penalties and interest is down, but almost everything else is up.
yep. So, it's,
And do we have Diane, do you know if we have an estimate on our rooms and meals for next year?
I don't know that, would you like to grab her?
Sure.
Yeah. And I mean, wake me up on this, Lloyd, is excavation the same, pays out in April? I mean, we got $427 worth of excavation tax.
I'm not sure when that's paid, or if it's
Yeah.
paid quarterly, I can't remember. That will probably go up a little bit next year if they start excavating out of the Whitten pit.
Yeah, it's only pennies, yeah.
Diane, what is it, 2 cents a cubic yard or something? Good morning, how are you?
Morning.
Hi.
That time of year.
Do you get an estimate from the state on rooms and meals, or we just guess?
Oh, no, this is a check that we received electronically.
Right. But do they give us an?
They do give you an estimate, it's usually, actually, they give you an estimate for the block grant, but not really for the meals tax, because they don't know how much they're gonna collect.
So it hasn't changed? I mean,
It's been about the same, we got more this year than last year,
But there's been no,
but not significant increase. I mean,
no change in the
typical-
rate?
No, no.
Because and the reason for my question is that last year, our estimated revenue for rooms and meals was $122,669. That seems an awfully specific number not to have been given that by someone.
We used last year's figure, I believe.
I don't have those.
I mean, I was not given any estimate, so I know it,
So you used the figure that you received the previous year?
typically that's what I tend to do.
Because you're only off by a penny.
Sorry. I'll keep it.
No, it just, I don't know, it just,
Yeah.
I've not had that kind of dumb luck in my life.
I'm just
so-
that good, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you have a block grant number for us?
For highways?
Highway block grant,
Where am I here?
page 3.
Okay, page 3. That's what we've received this
Right,
year.
but do we have a,
Oh, you want a projected amount for
Right.
2019? I will have that for
okay,
you. When you start to work on your 2019 revenues, I'll have it.
Yeah, which is,
imminent,
yeah, next Monday we're doing them,
yeah,
so,
pull your troops together and,
yeah. And I don't know how much,
Oops.
how far we are from what you need to give us a worksheet, but,
Yeah.
yeah, we got,
I'll give you
We'll
what
get
we
back
did
up.
last year. It's kind of like an Excel spreadsheet
yeah,
last year.
yeah.
Is that good?
that's good, and, what's the other thing?
Library income, we already have an estimate, right?
Yes, the library provides us that information.
Did we have anything, or we'll have Jackie report on that, so tell Jackie she needs to tell us about, sale of municipal property, so if we have anything left to sell, what are we gonna sell this year? I don't think we do.
Yeah, we gotta get the place around the corner. Yeah,
Right.
and the one we didn't sell last year up on Sandy Knoll, I mean.
Yeah, I remember the Sandy Knoll piece,
Well,
but talk about
yeah,
it.
You know what? I just remembered something, just jogged my memory about that meals and meals. It was when we set our tax rate, Michelle gave me the exact amount at that point in time because she had the information. We just hadn't gotten the check yet. That's what it was. That's why
So
it's so
when will she
close.
give us the exact amount next time?
Tax
On
rate setting,
October?
yeah.
So we'll just put in the number that we received this year, and then adjust it in October?
Yeah, if you feel like the economy's doing pretty good, you could stick with that, you know? It's kind of like a. You know,
Overinflate our revenues and under-report our expenses and hope for the best.
She didn't get reelected. That representative.
So,
They did it at the county every year
yeah,
to balance the budget overestimated revenues.
right.
Drove them crazy.
Do we have, you mentioned something about the contingency in the warrant, as I remember there was a warrant article, wasn't there?
Every year there's a
yeah,
contingency.
well,
So that goes into improvements, other buildings, or do we?
no, it's a separate,
Warrant articles.
separate,
So we're doing, okay, I got it.
no.
It's not gonna be in the
No.
expenditures, it's gonna be in a warrant article.
Yes, it is, it's right. and
It has to be by
it's-
law.
It's improvements other than buildings. It's the
Right.
first item in there. Was $5,000 last year, so, yeah, which we didn't use.
And that's it, I guess we'll have to get a report from, or you can get a report from the trustee of the trust fund as to how much money we made on investment.
Jack provides us with that.
All right, so, the minus 41,000 in other state grants and reimbursements.
Yeah, the accountant gave me that number to use to track the block grant, and I wished I had caught it ahead of time. I would have suggested a different number because it gets into my revenue report and it shouldn't be in there. That's why I
It's outside
crossed
the
it off.
budget, yes.
Right, and so now, until we spend it all, it'll be there, and I'm gonna have to adjust it and get it out of there.
Okay, so you're saying it goes into
It's already
3353?
come out though, I mean,
Well, the accountant told me to use that number to keep track of that block.
3359?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so,
I didn't realize that it would become part of our revenue report. If I had known that, I would have asked him to use a different number so it doesn't get in our report. Because our reports are not, does not give you the option to take that number out.
I see.
It's,
Okay.
because it's
You are
contiguous with
correct.
all the other account numbers that belong to the
Right.
report.
And by statute, that is outside the budget.
Correct, we're
so
not.
you added it back in by
At the
pencil?
bottom.
Yeah, because it takes it out, because I
Right.
don't have a budget for it. So it treats it as a negative number. And if
Yep.
you don't, then it's going to lower our revenues, which shouldn't be.
Okay.
You follow me? Yeah. Have to-
So
yes,
you
I'm
added it
also
into
mentioning
the
that.
balance and then you
The ones
subtracted
behind.
it from the balance, so that leaves us with,
So that-
I don't know where the 20 grand left us between Friday and now, but we were at 75 on that bucket.
Well, right, and that's after I met with you.
Yeah.
That's when I discovered, I said, oh, shoot, that 41,000 is wreaking havoc in my report balance, and it's deflating it, and it should be, and it should be 55,000 more than what we projected overall. See what I'm saying? It's a good
Yes.
thing, it's a good thing that.
So, yeah,
It streamlines it. But just like we've streamlined cemetery, corner posts, and metal stakes, that's an in and out account.
Correct.
Starting this year.
Yeah.
It just created,
It's just easier.
Accounting
It's
issues.
easier because they bought supplies to make the stakes, so they couldn't, it's hard to have an exact number.
right.
It's good.
In the circles you travel in, your associations, any hint as far as what they're saying next year will be as far as car registrations, or how will the economy be, or do we just need to listen to the news like
I
everybody
just,
else?
that's pretty much what I would say, listen to the news and,
Recycling fees, this is the year the permits get sold, so there'll be a little adjustment there.
we go, yeah.
They go for 2 years, and it's every other year, there's a little bit of an income.
yeah.
And Clayton can do that.
Yeah.
All right,
Did you have a question on excavation and yield taxes?
no, I think you answered, only
Okay.
would.
So it's a timing issue,
No.
Right.
yeah. The yield taxes,
We're gonna have a bigger yield tax next year than we did this year.
It's been a busy year.
because it gets paid in the next year.
Yeah, they typically don't submit their reports of cut until March or April, sometimes even May.
Yep.
And usually Jackie has to send a few letters in June.
Well, actually, it's Karen.
Yeah.
Karen does.
Yeah,
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 Okay.
yep.
all right. All right. So, see where we're at on 2018 current year. Down to, about 72,000 a year.
Can I make a comment, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
This has to do with page 6 and 7, and I want to be as positive and as I can.
6 and 7 of what?
Page 6 and 7.
So you're
Expenses?
Yes, I'm looking at highways and streets.
Yep.
I want to provide as much assistance for the road agent as I can, and I think this is the year that, and you made a comment earlier in the year, Chip, that it needs to be broken down by line, or at least in accounting. He's asked, how many tons of salt do we buy, and how many yards of sand, and how much per storm and whatnot. And there's no way that any human being can figure it out from here. There's other things like blowing leaves and ditch maintenance. It's not a seasonal thing. It's done all year round, so.
Well, I have a,
Can I just toss it out for us to be thinking about it?
yeah,
And my motives are honorable, yeah.
I don't know that the way it's set up is working. I mean, it isn't obviously $35,000 over budget. And 91,000 is on the winter line, which is totally unreasonable.
And
I mean, I've lived here my whole life. Last winter was no worse than 50 or 60% of the winters we've had in this county. I mean, it wasn't like a calamitous 100-year winter, but we're 91,000 bucks over budget. So what I think that leads us to believe, because he's gone over budget every year for the last 5 years, is that the structure isn't working to illustrate the costs
Right.
effectively.
And again, I want to make sure that I don't mean to be speaking when he's not here to be part of the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't review all the budget, but
I'll do it when Clay is here next week, but I wanted to review the swap shop situation. But I'll do that with him here to,
Well, does he have a proposal to bring to us on that?
I don't know, I'll ask him.
Okay.
I mean, other than our legal budget being over because we got ourselves in this, that, or the other legal issue, that's only.
Well, some of those things are out of our control.
And Parks and Rec is over by $47,
Yeah.
but every other budget is under.
Yeah, Clay is over in CD, but he
Well, and
came,
his line is over.
he came to us early on.
Yeah, if you look at his total budget, he's not run over, has he?
Yeah, he is. But
Yes,
Yeah,
8K
yeah, 8,000.
on page 8.
But
I don't
it's,
have a page 8. Oh, there it is,
Yeah.
way up there.
yeah,
That's $8,000.
yeah.
And that's the C&D.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think we've effectively addressed that, so maybe that will go away.
As long as there's enough money in the budget to cover it. We've addressed the revenue side of that.
No, it's just, yes, systemically, Oh,
But
I
you-
see. Your cost.
If
your
we
cost
spend, if
side.
we spend $96,000 for C&D disposal, and we don't budget that, we're gonna be over. Doesn't matter whether we collect it someplace else in, I mean, it's great that we have some offsetting revenue, but we still have the expense that goes against the total budget.
That was the line that I addressed, the 2,000 for the swap shop, and also the $1,000 for the stuff that's picked up along the side of the road and all that.
Good.
You know, I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that if we don't budget for it and there's a shortfall, then
We'll make it up someplace else. Yeah.
But that's 94.
You doing the temp or?
Yes, yes, I just put it on. It's gonna be, it's on a vault, the vault's above ground,
So,
but leaking inches, so I sleep.
Anyway,
Seal
this is-
tight.
Approved budget.
we don't have 2019 budget to,
I've done it this way, but I haven't added up.
What's the
total.
2019 total? Are we done with
I
that?
haven't totaled it up because there's
What
still,
did we put down for C&D?
I can bring that up, 4312.
4324. 12. 4324.
Yep, let me dig it out.
You can grab my budget book too if you want.
Can dig it up.
I'm getting there, I'm up to 4313. Well, I can't find it.
I'll be right back.
The one thing I don't have.
So we don't have a feel for how much more is going out for 18? Or have we cut the cord on that? Do you have any more bills that we're paying?
oh, I'm sure there are a few more.
Yeah.
Diane could tell
Yes.
us better, but typically, through January, we're still cutting a few checks against 2018.
Right.
So,
Because right now, we're a little over 110,000 to the good. If you add the underspent budget to the
That's all.
Right.
overhead revenue.
yep,
So it'd be nice to come in somewhere in that area.
yep.
You increased C&D from 80 this year to 93 next year.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So it was 93 and
Good 95,
and we
guys.
spent 96, so. That's a better situation, but it's not all the way there.
Well, I can imagine that just the increase in our rates is gonna cause some people to, oh, I don't know, but you do the math, is it cheaper for me to just get a container in here and throw it into that? Or throw it into my truck, or have my help throw it in the truck and trailer and drive it? I mean, there's labor involved, I don't know if
Right.
if these local builders think about that. I would hope they did.
Yep. All right. Any other thoughts on 2018?
Good riddance.
On to the new year,
A lot
right?
has been accomplished. It's been a good year.
All right. Let's talk about warrant articles.
Okay.
So what I did is I extracted only those that are directly involved with the dollars.
And you adjusted the Article A to accommodate that money we
I
could
took this,
spend.
yeah, the number that was lined through
Yeah,
to the right is, you take it to 67,000-ish out, all
right.
right? And so we're talking 1,862,000, that's with the 135 out. Withdrawal of 354,500 from the existing library capital reserve fund.
So you took 62,000 out of that.
67.
67.5,
Right. And $1,241,000 from library capital donation funds and pledges, with $333,000 to be raised from current taxes.
Right.
Now, I'm going to suggest that we make this article non-lapsing, which means once that money is appropriated in 2019, it does not have to be encumbered if there are some expenses that don't occur until 2020. It certainly seems to me that you start the construction this year and get it closed in and most of the work done, that the idea that it would be totally finished by
Yeah.
December 31st is not,
Well, it might be, but.
well, if it's non-lapsing, then you got no problem.
Right.
Would the chair entertain a motion in the fact that the selectmen support a non-lapsing warrant article? Bottom line, the amount of $333,000 raised from current taxes. And then under discussion,
And the math works, I'm sorry.
and
Well, the final numbers, I think, before we go to the budget hearing, we'll know how much is in the,
Right.
and toward the year.
And currently, these numbers were, I don't have a calculator. so I just-
They did unless I fat fingered it.
Okay.
So,
under discussion, I was ready to state, I understand that there's always an accounting, and right up until at town meeting, the final figure can be adjusted downward.
right, it's gonna be adjusted either way, but it's always easier to adjust down than it is to adjust up. And obviously, the wording in the article, as with all the articles, needs to be blessed by DRA.
Yes.
Before it hits the street. But I think we've got the bases covered. We've specified the total amount to be spent, and we've identified all of the funding sources to get us that money.
The purpose of my article is, will the board support no borrowing of money?
Well, I think that's self-evident. So I'll support your motion, but I think it's self-evident that we're doing this in one go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's, again, it's non-lapsing, so that if all of the expenses incurred in the year, we've already set the money aside.
So can you restate your motion, please?
I move that the selectmen support Article A concerning the library, and to prune it down, I'll say, the bottom line is that we authorize the raising of $333,000 to be raised from taxes.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Article B, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $16,660 to update tax maps and add GIS mapping. This is the replacement for the work that Sue Weeks has done manually for however many years she's been doing it.
I'll make a motion that we approve Article B as written.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Article C, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $285,000 for the preparation and paving of town roads. So I think that's a number that we talked about before.
Right, and is preparation and paving sufficient in language? Do we need to add anything to that?
I believe that's the language we've used in recent past
Yes,
years.
it's consistent with past warrant articles.
Okay, so that's gonna be just preparation and paving, it's not gonna be reconstruction or any of that other stuff?
That is preparation for paving.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know, for example, if they have to fill in, take out the clay and fill in gravel, that's part of the, like they did on Brown Road, that was part of the
as
preparation.
long as it,
I'm just gonna add, I did include the study in your paperwork as well as the quote for
Right.
Sawyer Road and Brown Road and, then if the two are together, it's less, all that good stuff.
right. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve Article C as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Article D, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $56,400 for the preparation and paving of Sawyer Road. We had some discussion about that earlier in the year. And that's the only section of Sawyer Road that is not paved. It's the Tuffendale section of it. There's certainly some benefits to paving it. My thought is that this is something that could be done in 2019, could be done in 2020, or in a future year. And given that we're including a large expense for Article A, that this is one that we can defer to a future year. My opinion.
My opinion, it needs to be done, it's a safety issue. I drive that road as people zipping along on pavement, and all of a sudden they're on dirt. It costs more to take care of a gravel road. And there are families and kids now that live in that section, and the dust is horrible. The other thing is, here's a chance to get it done, and if we commingle it with another project close by, we save $12,840. I'm in favor of the project.
I'm less in favor of it. I'm wondering if we,
What about doing the
I'm
base
wondering
coat?
if we didn't put it down at 15,000, because that's really the cost of paving it. And have language to include it in the paving budget. In other words, we're gonna, from this day forward till the end of time, Sawyer Road's gonna be included in our paving schedule. I mean, I'm looking at the ones the articles that I'd like to really consider not doing, and I'm coming up with $236,000.
I have two thoughts. First of all, put it under the paving, 285, number one. And number two is that this year we do the base coat. That way we save some money, that way we also eliminate this as a warrant article.
And you don't think we need to put the people on notice? I mean, there was a vote at some point in the
Yes.
past.
I personally would like to put them on notice. I'm comfortable with openness and optics and visibility, but she got a ruling that technically we don't have to.
No,
So
sure.
I'm looking one money, and the other one I'm looking optics. So I'm comfortable going either way.
Well,
I mean, we have, I mean, all of these are money articles.
Yes.
But there is the ability to ask the town to vote on non-money articles, if you want to make it a non-money article.
Right.
So, it's,
How about this? How about to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 to prepare Sawyer Road for paving? Now we're putting on notice, we're gonna pave it. We put some money there.
I would,
But I'm
and-
reluctant to put $56,000 there.
yeah, yeah.
I have no problem just going with, like we did in the past, that we did the first coat one year, make sure it settles,
Wow.
and do the coat the second year. I'm flexible, but
Yeah.
I also know we want a library, so.
Right.
Well,
Right. What was this?
I-
I'm sorry.
It seems to me that what you're suggesting, $15,000 for road preparation for paving, is a separate article, and then including the paving part as part of the 285. It's not a bad way to go. And then if the town does not vote
Yeah,
to
if they don't want
support,
to do Sawyer Road, they'll.
that's the opportunity
It's gonna cost us
that's the
15
opportunity
grand.
to vote it down, is to vote against preparing it for paving. And we can, in the conversation at town meeting, we can talk about, this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it this way. And that the paving part of it will be included as part of the paving budget, but we want to put some money in here and give the town a chance to
Weigh in.
weigh in. So,
Article D,
So,
can I make a motion?
yeah, you may, please.
I'm gonna make a motion to have Articles D state, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 for the preparation for paving of Sawyer Road. Or the paving of Sawyer Road.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Article E.
Are,
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Are we gonna be ready to do this project this year? We're going through the permitting.
The design work is done. The permit paperwork is, the permit is paid for. I don't know if it's actually filed yet. I don't know how long it takes them to do the,
Yeah, it's not
Permit.
yet.
Yeah.
I think it's like 120 days.
so, let's say it's 120 days. Permit's in now, then
So it is.
once the snow's
Then
out,
it's
I think
shovel-ready.
we should have a timeline to work. I mean, it would be great to get it done before the season, you know, once the ground thaws, get in there, get the work done. I'm trying to think back to White Mountain's estimate. I don't know that there was time associated with his cost estimate, but one of the things that occurs to me is in going forward with this, if we're going to commit to putting it on the warrant, that it would not be a bad idea to put it out for proposals now, so that we, by town meeting, have
Real cost.
have a real cost to deal with. And then going forward, we're not schlepping too much or too little money there.
All right, I'll make a motion that Article E read, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,551 for the 19-mile beach project.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next article is
19 Mile Brook.
19 Mile Brook baseline report. Although maybe there's a better way to word that. I mean, it's an updated baseline.
Right.
So, and the number we have is $41,255, and that will change when we get the initial report from them
Mid-January.
mid-January. So, and maybe, the idea
I don't
now is
really-
that
I mean,
this may be an upper limit on what they were talking about.
Right, and I think it's probably gonna change between now and town meeting or the budget hearing.
Mhm.
So
If it does, we always can amend it, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion that Article F read to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $41,255 for the 19 Mile Brook updated baseline report.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Article G, $12,000 this is for the recreational trail at the Great Meadows area. And CIP recommended deferring this to 2024.
And I'm kind of in agreement.
I agree.
I don't agree with 2024, but I agree with not doing it this year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's, and we talked earlier about maybe there's private monies that can be put toward it, and that's great.
Yep.
It's, in my view, on town properties, it's important to have recreational opportunities available, but
Right.
we're,
I don't think
We're-
they've
we're-
exhausted their options.
well, we're going forward toward $40,000 of enhancement down at the beach, and that's a well-used town property by
also-
both residents
It's
and
also an
summer
environment
folks.
issue.
And it does, it will help improve the runoff of
Yes.
stormwater into the lake. And so I think putting it off is a good thing to do. All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that Article G be to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $124,626 to pay a second installment toward the new fire truck required by a town meeting vote in March of 2018. Principal amount is $107,881. The interest is $16,745. This agreement contains an escape clause.
All right. Any discussion?
Where is that?
That's H.
Change H to G.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to suggest as we go forward that let's just talk about the numbers that are there and we'll renumber them afterwards, because otherwise it's going to get confusing with everyone.
Yes.
All right?
So,
So we
Article G, basically, won't be posted anywhere.
no.
Nope.
Right.
Doesn't pa-
We'll remove
doesn't
it
pass
from-
muster.
we'll remove it from the list. So we just approved Article H,
yeah,
okay? And
okay.
I will, when we get done with this, I'll take the document and update it and change the
Okay. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself.
yeah, the numbering. Otherwise, everyone, we're gonna be jumping all over the place. All right, the next one is for the fourth installment toward the ambulance and rescue truck for a total of $89,318. $84,947 as principal and $4,371 as interest.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The next one is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate this sum of $55,000 for a new police vehicle. We've talked about this one before. My feeling is that deferring this for a year is appropriate. In the current situation, we have a couple of vehicles that have not,
They're sitting there.
that have been sitting for a while, which helps us a little bit in terms of use, but it's.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we strike Article J.
Second.
All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Article K, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $178,517 for a new six-wheel dump truck, slant plow truck. This would be to replace the six-wheel truck that has been
We just sold.
that has been retired. And in my opinion, this is an item that we can defer.
Yeah, I think we can. I know that Jim's, the road agent has accommodated the six-wheel plowing needs. I think it's not that far removed from accommodating whatever summer maintenance work is at the roads. So I'm gonna move that we strike Article K.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Excuse me. Did you want to do that same thing to, was it G?
Article G, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Next one, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 for heating system upgrade at the town garage. CIP's recommendation on this is 2020.
I'd like to address that.
Yes.
As I reviewed the minutes this year, Clay is starting to have problems with age of his furnace. The fire department is having, not issues, but age with the furnace that's in Melvin. At some point, we're gonna have to have some parts to the wonderful heating system that's in the fire station. I'd like to see us sort of do a global approach to this like we've done with generators, but not do it this year.
Okay. My recollection on the heating at the garage is that it's functional the way it is, but it wasn't designed to be
Primary.
a heating source for that sort of a building, and it's not very efficient. So what we do is we end up using more fuel.
So
but
we don't know what $15,000 is even the right number.
15,000 is an estimate of what it would take to put a more traditional heating system in, so we don't know. No.
I'll make a motion that we strike Article L.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I just apologize for interrupting. So that G, should I just, same thing?
Yes.
And all be
Same vote.
made it and, okay. Thank you.
Stop asking.
I'm just trying to cover you.
Just trying to keep us honest.
Yeah.
All right. Article M, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate sum of $75,000 for Union Wharf bulkhead reconstruction. And my thought on that is, number one, we have approved and allocated money to do design work and
Right.
permitting for it, but we have no idea what the cost to
Right.
getting
I
it
don't-
done
I don't see
is
any
gonna
way
be.
that's gonna happen.
And it would be, even on a fast track, would be a challenge to get it to where it could be done in the fall.
And
A year ago, we were talking about the beach.
Right.
And so we put money in and we did the beach design work this year. And it wasn't until late in the season that we finally got the beach.
Right.
Uh,
And it
design
isn't
work
just a
done.
repair. We're actually looking at expanding that to get out to the posts.
And making it safer, yes.
Right, right.
And-
So I don't see that that's
And-
something that's ready, that would be ready.
And the
next
state
year.
has other issues about who owns it and all that.
Property line.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we strike Article M.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $42,000 to be added to the previous established Fire Rescue Department SCBA Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. And I am going to suggest that this be deferred. Capital reserve funds are great, and we're using them to save toward an expense, a known future expense. What we're doing by not funding any into that fund this year is we'll either have to make that amount up when we, next year, or when it has to be replaced in 2 or 3 years down the road.
All right, just so we can flesh this out a little bit.
Yep,
If we move on to O
yep,
and determine that we're not gonna do that 50,000, because
Right.
we've already got money in there.
yep,
We've taken $326,917 off the warrant by our current vote.
Right. right,
We've taken 41,400 plus 75,000 off the warrant.
No, we've taken 56,400, 55,000, 75,000, and 50,000.
yeah, actually, let me see, all right. When we started this thing today, the total was 1,414,267, all right? And if we take the 2 capital reserves out, we'll be at 945,350, if I've done my math right.
Okay.
So, which is a little more than what the CIP recommended for this year, but it's not hugely up there. CIP's
Okay,
recommendation. Hmm?
The only problem I
Let's-
have with deferring these capital improvement accounts are 2. The first thing is you lose the interest forever when you wait a year or you hiccup. The other thing is that we had a warrant article last year that said to people, we want to use the capital reserve system rather than, lease purchase and whatnot. And I noticed that the CIP took that and supported that. I'd like to see the setting money aside that we included if we can.
Okay, but when you come up with your totals,
Yep,
can we go back through the warrant articles as they're listed here?
yep,
Because I'm showing that we've taken 56,400 and replacing it with 15,000. So that would be a savings of 41,400.
400, yeah.
41,400.
Mhm.
Okay, then we eliminated 12, right?
Mhm.
And then we eliminated 124,626. No, I'm sorry. And we kept that. 55,000 eliminated for the police department,
right,
and 178,517
with
for
the
the
dump
truck.
truck, right?
And
15,000
15 for the heat,
75 for the warrant.
75 for the Union Wharf.
Mhm.
And so, if we add all those numbers up, that's where I'm coming up with my number. I added 15 back in, so if I got 56,4, 55, 75, and 50, that's 236,4. Add the 15 back in that we put onto the paving of Sawyer Road,
Right,
and then take 12 more off. And 178,517. I mean, I've come up with 300 grand. I don't know why. Am I so far off?
well,
I'm on land
I took the ones that we've approved
Okay,
and added them all up, including capital reserves. Right?
so you're doing it the other way, I see.
Yep, and I come up with 945,350.
After removing these, after removing.
Without the capital reserve contributions.
Okay.
Right.
Or without the,
That's library GIS, paving, 15,000 for Sawyer Road, the beach, 19 Mile Brook,
yeah,
the two lease purchase payments.
right,
That comes up to $945,350.
okay.
Unless I slipped a number somewhere along the line, but. So,
Okay, so you had, okay, I was doing it the other way, I was reducing rather than adding.
Yeah.
So where were we last year for warrant articles?
well, we got that right here. The back. Let's see. So we had, all right. So last year, we were at 92. Plus 242, 433, plus 20, plus 311, 822, plus 43,000. You're at 709,255 last year.
Okay,
So, and this is 945.
so $240,000 higher,
Yep.
so we're less than the 333.
Yep.
And we've got. What I was trying to get to was maybe we do to modify the population here.
Maybe what?
Maybe we do $20,000 for the SCBA. I mean, 42 is what they're asking for, but.
I'd have no problem with Article N and Article O being $20,000 each. That's $40,000.
Do we make a motion?
I still submit that what we're doing by funding the library in 1 year is saving ourselves, depending upon the term of a loan,
Between 40 and 60.
40 to 60 grand. Not putting money aside here, all right, we're gonna forego some interest on that, but we're gonna keep the tax rate more under control. We're gonna be almost $200,000 more this year in capital spending, and savings is always a good thing, but you know, I think you gotta balance it out. And there have been years when we've foregone contributions in the past into the capital reserve funds, and the world hasn't come apart. It would be wonderful if today we were putting aside money into all of the different areas that we need. I was looking the other day at another town similar to ours in size, but managed somewhat differently. And their list of expendable accounts that they budget money into every year and take some out of is about 25 long. For buildings, for transfer station equipment, for police equipment, for fire equipment. They don't have to do lease purchases, okay? But they set up a system a long time ago to get there. We're not there today, and while I am a big advocate of capital reserve funds, I also feel a responsibility to rein in our spending somewhat. We're taking a big bite for one big project this year, and I would like to see us just defer contributions into the other ones. That's my,
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
my-
guess
that's my
to
piece.
bolster that a little bit, I think doing the library in 1 year is good for us, because the next time we have a fire engine, maybe we should talk about just paying for the goddamn thing. You know, if we can make this work this year, I think we can make it work in the future for different things that we might need to do. Like the police, well, this police station's probably gonna be a little too expensive, but some of the equipment that purchases that we buy on lease purchase for an ambulance, for instance,
Yep.
you know, a revenue source.
yeah.
So
So
I'm in agreement that I think we need to get rid of these two for this year. I'd like to fund them, but I really don't think we can. I'll make a motion that we eliminate Articles N and O.
And I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Excuse me, Lloyd, how did you vote?
No.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to check.
As I look through here, the CIP recommended that we start a capital reserve fund for the next engine. I don't see that as a warrant article.
For 2020, they recommended it.
Good.
Yeah, I think 2020 is when we're gonna look into that program that you're talking about.
Yes.
But that's it.
The other thing you can do is, if we have a year we need to pay off like we did the one fire truck, make 2 payments in 1 year.
Well, but in
And save interest. That's for another year.
That brings up an interesting question. As I remember, in years past, when we made the final payment on a lease payment early, it didn't actually save us any money.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, bonds. it doesn't-
when we back up and look at that, if we find ourselves in a situation where it's gonna cost us the same if we're gonna pay it now or if we pay it next year, then maybe we set that money aside
Yeah.
for future spending and just stay on track. And that's not a criticism of what's done in the past, and I think it's a reflection of, as a town, we're more comfortable not being in debt than being in debt. And if we have a chance to get out a little early, we'll do it. But
And
if
a lot of
it
it's-
saves us money, that's terrific, then we can put it towards something else.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, the
well-
40 to 60 grand that we're not gonna pay out in interest on a loan for the library is a new police cruiser.
Right.
Or replacement of,
A dump truck or something.
of the compactors up at the transfer station, stuff that we need to do. All right.
So that's gonna change or do you wanna vote on an operating budget? Because I don't know.
We have Article P.
We have Article P, which is the contingency fund.
Also move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And then Article C, which is just the boilerplate for an operating budget, in my opinion, it's too early to address that at this point.
Yeah, I think it
I
is.
just
'cause
I
don't
just
know
threw a
what we have
number in
right.
there. Now, there are some other expense articles that I would like to talk about.
Can I just ask for a review?
You may.
Last year on warrant articles, what did we spend?
I think it came up with 700 and something.
When I read off of the back of the,
Yeah, there's a total there. I think it's like
Well-
719.
all right,
Yeah, 7.
Well, anyway, for this year,
719.
for this year, I have 989,350.
I've got 945, 350, so I don't know where
Well,
the,
the point is that you deduct the library payment of 333,
Yeah,
we're basically lower than we were last year.
Right.
I mean, maybe it's smoke and mirrors, but
And
But more
purposely.
importantly, it's how much real impact does the 333 have? And if it's 200,000, then that's the number we use for, tax increase.
yeah.
Right,
Okay, I'm happy.
yeah.
Nice job.
I'm not happy, but I think we've come to a reasonable, and I'm not happy only because I know that there are needs out there that it would be better to address, but I think we've taken the best approach to the mix for this year. So I'm satisfied that we're where we are. Other articles. Here someplace that we may want to consider. And Karen's gone through and marked some of this stuff for us. The legislature made some changes this year that gives us opportunities, as they always do. All right. One of the changes that they made was to the law as it relates to revolving funds, and they have authorized towns to establish a revolving fund for the purpose of providing fire service for both fire and ambulance service. And this would be under RSA 31:95-H. And I don't know if that's something that we want to consider or not. But it's, there is a
I think
opportunity for that.
I thought there was around $9,008 that we've received for the ambulance.
Can I make a recommendation as far as that? Let's have a full year of operation where the payment schedule, and Adam having a full handle on it before we start going to an enterprise fund or a revolving account. I like the idea, reasonable, but I like to see things made on a program that's had a few years of operation. Just a thought.
And it doesn't seem to have, it's not like an enterprise fund
Right.
where your expense side is in there as well.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it takes revenue out of your stream in there.
Yep.
The other thing is past boards of selectmen and have over the years, when the Conservation Commission got its fund, there was some discussion on it. When the recreation fund started, and this, I don't want to say there's controversy about it, but I don't know if a lot of people, some people aren't comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm not great with off the book
Yes.
accounting methods. So that's why when Steve mentioned increasing the change of use tax contribution.
Well, that's one of the warrant articles.
Hopefully it's not a warrant article this year, we haven't discussed it.
No, article, no. Is
No.
that what you were talking about, some of the non-money things?
The non-money things that we aren't on what we talked about today.
Right.
They have a proposal to change the amount they get out of the land use change tax. I talked to Steve about it over the weekend. I said, are you ready to talk to us? Tell us, give us your thinking. Well, no, they're not ready. I said, fine.
Better have their guns loaded, because I am not interested in taking money off the books and putting it into the hands of unelected people, actually.
That's.
Not anything against Steve.
No,
But I-
no, it's.
I'm right in tune with what you say.
Yeah, right, I'm happy to have the conversation, but don't just flop it on the table and say this is what we want to do. And I'll ask questions like why,
Yeah.
and, it's, I did look back at the Conservation Fund, and there was a period of time when it just kept building and building and building. And over the last several years, they have been actively making acquisitions and using the money that's there, which is great.
Yes.
But if it's just a fund that continues to gather money forever and takes it out of the town revenue stream, then that's not so good. Other items for consideration. The legislature increased the optional veterans tax credit for service-connected disabilities to $4,000, or the opportunity for towns to get it has been $2,000, and the optional veterans tax credit for non-disabled veterans, regular tax credit was increased from $500 to $750. Of course, that's something that only town meeting can do. And so the question is, do we want to put that on the warrant for an increase this year?
Do we know what the impact is?
Both of those, the impact is 60 grand. So,
The VA impact is already $100K before taxes.
So it'd go to 160,000?
I'd like to discuss that next year instead of this year.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to increase our revenues per year.
Yeah.
And I'm in favor of it, but I'd like to, we have a lot of issues to talk about, the library being the big one.
Yeah. All right.
Under non-money warrant articles, there's one I see here, Article 13, on one of the papers she gave us, to see if the town will vote to replace previously adopted docking and parking ordinances to make conflict with the newly adopted docking and parking ordinance adopted by the Board of Selectmen on July 2nd of this
Right,
last year.
and I'd like to explore that a little more before we even consider putting on the warrant.
Yep.
So,
Just putting it on the
Rick said
agenda.
we should, but
What?
Rick said we should. It is advice.
Really?
Yes.
I have the email
When do we start
attached.
taking legal advice?
well, yeah, no, and so I'd like to personally look through that a little bit more
Yes.
before we move along, so.
And does the planning board have anything?
They have two ordinance changes that are, I think the hearing is going to be at our meeting on whatever our next meeting is, 18th. One has to do with a ZBA issue, and I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. It's just language. The other one has to do with clarifying the recreational vehicle permit procedure. So not big deals. All right.
She also gave us, here's an updated draft warrant article for your review on Keno lottery. No one has contacted me about voting Keno in. So, a new point.
I'm not interested in,
Tax on the floor? I don't think I'd like that.
no. So, I guess one.
Encourage people to play poker in their basement smoking cigars.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Yeah. All right. I think we're done for today,
Nice.
right?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Are we meeting Friday or are we not meeting Friday?
I don't know that we ever,
We don't have any reason to.
we don't have any reason to, no.
Okay. So the next meeting will be next Monday?
Next Monday,
All right.
9 a.m.
Perfect.